Oh, creaky, creak, creak. Hello, welcome to episode number 56, a proper traditional podcasty episode of the Mad About You podcast. My name is Madeleine. I use she and her pronouns, and I come to you today and pay my respects to the traditional custodians of the land that I'm on, the Kabi Kabi Gubbi Gubbi people of the Sunshine Coast, and I want to pay my respects to their elders past and present. I feel like I do a big sigh every time, but I really want to make sure I get my pronouns in and that I do a proper acknowledgement of country. So here we are. This is my first episode back from my holiday. I have taken lots of little bits of footage from all of the countries that I visited. And at some point, I promise I will get that off my phone and edited, but I can't. It might be like a Vlogmas special because who knows. I will show you some of the things that I did buy overseas though. I have got them handy. But yeah, welcome. If this is your first time, thank you so much for joining me. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I hope you missed me a little bit when I was away. I don't know how much you can see of my legs right now, so I'm just like trying to make sure that I cross them. I have some exciting news in my personal life. I have nothing bad. It's a happy episode number 56. You might just put that slightly more that way. I'm really out of practice. Okay, usually we would start with works in progress, and while I have lots of whips in my whip project pile over here, I have no active ones because I cast something off today. So we will talk about some finished objects. This first finished object, actually both are kind of like show and tell of things I knit while I was away. Just thinking, do I have the other thing that I was working on handy? No. Okay. So if you remember episode 55, before I left, I had cast on with some really lovely yarn from Saltwater Yarns. I had cast on a pair of socks, and I was like, they'll be great plain knitting. They were for a bit, but I was trying to knit them two at a time, and anyway, in the end, I just realised I'm really not a hand sock knitter. I can do machine socks. I like wearing them. My family loves them. Not for me. Pattern socks, not for me. So I failed on those, but I think I'm going to turn those into a Musselburgh hat. Which brings me to my first proper finished object. So this here is the Musselburgh. Well, how I say Edinburgh for Musselburgh hat by Isolde, and it is really beautiful. I knit this on yarn, out of yarn that I bought from Stephen and Penelope, and the yarn that I bought is Stranded Dye Works by Jude Harper, and I loved it. This colorway, I don't know where the tag is. This is going to be really lightly edited, I imagine, but I will remember to put the colorway here or in the notes below. But it's a really beautiful light periwinkly purple colour. I knit this hat during kind of like the second half of my trip. I think weeks 7 to 10, I did an organised tour through a company called G Adventures. And so I bought this yarn from Stephen and Penelope the day before the tour started. I cast on the first day of the tour, and then I knit all the way through over 22 days. And I finished, so I cast on in Amsterdam and I finished in Croatia, and I visited lots of cool places in between. So a lot of you probably have already knit this hat or understand how it works, but essentially you knit one, you cast on, do the increases, and then knit a whole lot of stock in it, and then you do a whole lot of decreases, and voila, you have this really lovely big tube. And then the trick is to fold it back in on itself, and then pop it on your head. I've got a messy bun, so I can put it on and show you. My regret, I was ready for it to be over, and I did measure, but I was knitting magic loop, so it was a bit difficult. I wish I had have knit maybe another inch in this middle section, because it's supposed to have, like, it can have any type of brim you want, really. And I don't really love a slouchy hat, which is funny because of the next project I'm going to show you. But it kept my head warm in London after I'd finished it, and then I also wore it in America too when it was a little bit cold. So really enjoyed this pattern. I don't think it will be my last. I feel like it's really nice potato chippy knitting. Once you get through those increases, I knit it on a size 3.25mm needle, which was annoying because I only brought my Shorties blue interchangeable set with me. And so when I bought the yarn on a Saturday from Stephen and Penelope, I actually met Stephen from Stephen and Penelope, Stephen West, really lovely man. And he was knitting on something potato chippy because he'd just been KAL finishing up his prep. And we talked about colours. I'm personally glad I did not cast on this year, but I know what I think I would have done if I was doing it. And I probably would have been happy with the colours, but I'm not an KALer, I can't deal. But that's just me. So anyway, lovely. I love this yarn. It's such a beautiful colour by Jude. Yeah, I probably should wash and block this again. I washed it kind of like in my hostel bathroom, which sounds gross, a little bit gross if you haven't stayed in hostels recently. But it was a private room with, I think there were 6 of us, and I had like a little collapsible bucket that I was kept, like a container that I was traveling with. So I put some warm water in that, in the sink in my hostel room, and we had a bathroom that was in the room, so I didn't have to like go with other randoms. And yeah, soaked it and then wrung it out and then dried it on top, like on a windowsill in London. So that was fun. The other finished object I have is using yarn I bought at Loop London. I did save the tags, but I recently changed the project bag and I feel like I don't know exactly where they are at this point. But shoot. Oh, maybe, sorry for the rustling. Oh, I found the socks. I got it. Okay, so the yarn that I use is called Le Petit Lamb's Wool. It's made in the UK by Birches and Bushes. This one here, a pure lamb's wool from Scotland, from a small family-owned fibre mill, natural and sourced quality, beautiful natural and scoured quality for your dreamy knitting projects. With love, Astrid and Caroline and Louise. So I used 2 colours to knit a brioche hat. So I knit, this one is Rose Claire or light pink, and the other colour is called grey beige, gris beige. I think that must be the French pronunciation, which I've just butchered. So I have these left over. I literally cast it off, or like finished it this morning, so ends aren't completely woven in, has not been washed or blocked, and this is my leftovers, which I haven't weighed yet. This wool was really lovely to knit with. I think it would be a beautiful for colour work. It is a bit, it is a sticky wool, kind of like a Jamison, yeah, sticky I would say, but really nice to knit with. And the pattern that I knit was called the Pop Fizzle, which is a all over brioche pattern. I'm gonna just snip the ends while I talk, like I've sewn in all the ends, but I haven't snipped them off, so I'll just do that now so then I can show you the beautifully finished hat. And this is it here. So I did realize when I was doing the decreases, my gauge was very loose at the beginning, and then towards the end it tightened up, and I think that was a combination of going back to magic loop, which was really fiddly actually, and also yeah, going back to Magic Loop, and yeah, my tension just changed. So my original plan was to finish this on the plane. And what actually ended up happening, on the plane from New York to Australia, all I had left was the, like, maybe 2 rows and then the decreases. So like this much of the hat. And I thought, okay, that's perfect, no worries, I can do that easy. And then I ran into a slight problem that I needed to Magic Loop for the end. And originally how I had packed was that I had my my long interchangeable cable was in the project bag, was in this one, and then at the last minute, because it was a little bit fiddly with how big it had grown to, and the balls, well, it was always fiddly the whole time really, I packed this in my checked luggage. And then I'm decreasing on the plane, and I realized from New York to LA, and I realized I needed it. And I didn't have it. So this hibernated for a week. I've been home a week now, and then this morning I finally finished it off. I have noticed that there are a few little, because I held the yarn double, the pattern calls for DK. There are a couple of bits which I noticed kind of too late to fix in the moment, single script strands that have left behind. So like I've just noticed this one here, and that one there needs fixing, but I have obviously plenty of yarn left, so I just have to kind of figure out the best way to do it. But right side out is this pink way, and I did and ah about the colours. They had some really beautiful colours at Loop London in the selection that I could have used. I am happy with these ones, but this is it. So I don't know that I'll wear it. It's double the thickness, obviously, but I really wanted something brioche, and I really wanted a hat, because I thought that was quite portable for our Rhinebeck knitting, etc, etc. I'm paranoid that this is not recording, so I'm just going to get up and check the camera because I can't see. It's kind of perfect timing. I just got a phone call and I had to take that. All right, let's have a sip. Let's pop that away now. Sip of coffee. Okay, so that's some acquisitions and some finished objects. Yeah, so very happy. I'll give it a wash and a block. Hopefully it's non-super wash, I think, so it shouldn't grow. Hand wash and dry flat. The yarn, sorry, I probably should have talked about that. 100% lamb's wool. I had 150 gram ball actually, which had 248 meters. It's fingering weight woolen spun. And I used a 3.5 millimeter needle, maybe? No, it was DK, probably 4. I can't remember, but I used my small interchangeables, and yeah, this is the Pop Fizzle pattern by Leslie Knit Graffiti. And I made this as a pop last year. Okay, so 2 finished objects. That's all. The work in progress are the socks that I knit. Excuse me. Oh dear, I dropped a stitch or it got pulled. Anyway, this is as far as I got. And I have dropped stitches now that that's been jostled around. My parents actually brought this back. I love how it's knitting up. I just don't have the patience for it. And I actually think that this yarn would be a really lovely musselburgh hat. So what I actually think I might do is pull this out, reskein the balls, and then cast that on, and that can be like school knitting or something. All right, I can see that we're already like 15 minutes in and I've talked about 2 projects. So let's talk about some acquisitions. I'm just going to show you very quickly because I'm sure when I get around to editing the footage, I can show you the yarn that I bought or the things I bought from various yarn shops. So let's start with, and I think this is actually the first shop that I visited, with Stephen and Penelope. They are located in Amsterdam. I got some cool things from there. This is my first shop. I was like, well, I went 3 times in my trip. I went once with my sister for the first time at the very beginning of our trip, and I only bought a small amount of things because I knew I was going back. So at that trip, I think I bought this. I don't know if I bought this or if I got it for free. I think no, I probably bought it. I thought about buying more for my my Advent swappies with my friends, but I was like, I'll have plenty of time to sew them something when I get back, and I've landed myself a job, so you know. But I bought a lazy swatch. It's a set of 3. It was on sale actually, so I think I got it for €5, usually 7. So that was cool. I got a Pride sticker, which is going to go on my sock machine table. They have these coasters, which are really handy. It actually says super duper handy on there. There's their logo, and then all of this information on the back here, which is like about knitting help and Ravelry, their contact details, and then the needle conversion chart, which is really helpful because, like, obviously here in Australia we use metric, so I talk about millimeters needles. And other countries, mostly America, have just numbers, and it does my head in. But now that I've got one of these, I'll probably laminate it actually and just like leave it in near where my needles live, and then that'll be really handy. The other thing I bought here, which is stupidly expensive for what it is, but this skein of Tough Sock Mini. And when I say stupidly expensive, I mean like I wouldn't blink at spending 11 Australian dollars on something like this, but it was €11. So it was like $16 for 20 grams of yarn. But it's Walk. It's beautifully dyed. I love it. The colorway is called Strawberry Cheesecake, and I thought I'll just buy lots of these little skeins, and then I can change the yarn to my Solaris. What did I end up doing? This is the only mini I bought, other than the ones I've already shown on the Rhinebeck Woolen Folk video. So I think that was it for Stephen and Penelope. The next shop I went to that I bought anything from was in Berlin. Actually went to 2 shops. Yeah, okay, so the first one was called oh shoot. There were 2. One was closed. I wanted to go to both. I think I went to Woolen in Berlin. And I bought this Ralmar Fennel lamb's 100% wool. That is all in Danish. Not sure. Anyway, 175 meters to 50 grams. I bought 2. It's a DK weight yarn, no fingering weight. And I'm going to knit a mittens. My plan is to do mittens or socks or slippers. Slippers, I think. I chose a pattern when I was there. Beautiful shop. Absolutely beautiful. I will definitely have to make a vlog. I was going to do one for every month, and like, this is what I saw. But I think what I might end up doing is just do one big-ish one. I didn't take a whole lot of footage. So yeah. Very cool. And then in Vienna, in Austria, I went to a lovely shop. Don't remember the name. We'll insert on the screen. And I got these 2 here. So they're pure merino. This one's called Gravity. This one is Odin. They're 100% super, well, the base is called Pure Merino, but it's 100% merino superwash. And the brand is called Positive Ease, hand-dyed yarns, and they are dyed in Austria, which is why I got them. And I thought they make a lovely brio duo. And that was a really cute shop too. Actually, the first shop I went to after, in Hungary actually, with my friend Andrea that I made in my hostel, and I bought this, which is like their they were called 1001 something or other. It was a very Hungarian name, or the word, and I didn't know it. But anyway, I bought this. I think I bought some stitch markers too. I wanted to buy a prim needle, but they didn't actually have the size that I wanted, so that was annoying. But I got that lovely little project bag, so that's very cool. All right, we're going all over the shop because next I don't remember where I went, but we're going to go to Greece. And I bought some cotton there. I've visited 4 yarn shops in Athens in one day. And then I ended up seeing a yarn shop in Crete. There's a lot of acrylic, a lot of cotton and linen. I think I was like, I'll do a dishcloth. And I thought I could knit another dishcloth while I was away, but then I ended up giving my yarn to my parents to take home. So this one here, which I think this one is made in Greece. 100% cotton. I bought some stitch markers because I spent a lot of time talking to the owners of the different, or like the staff of the different shops. So I did want to buy something. I was looking for my grease magnet. That's helpful. And then just another set of needles that have, I like the ones that have the hook on them. What is this? Surprise. Oh, I bought this at a monastery in Greece. One's for my friend. Cool. Okay. Great, Madeleine. I think that's all the yarny. Oh no. Haha, Madeleine, you are hilarious if you think that's it. I bought some little things to make some stitch markers. I have made 4, but they're for my swap for Advent, so I will show them to you in Vlogmas if I, excuse me, end up doing Vlogmas. Visited a few other shops, I think, but I didn't also buy some stuff. And then I went to, in England, I showed you what I bought from Loop London. And then we went to Bath for a yarn story. There were 2 yarn shops in Bath, but we were there for a day and a half and really got lots of sightseeing. It was really actually probably more like a day. By the time we arrived one afternoon and we left early the next. Excuse me. Went to the Roma Baths. I can actually see my ticket is in my phone case and I'm recording on my phone today. My ticket to the baths. So we did lots of things, but we went to a yarn story. They are located on Walcott Street. They do hand-dyed and luxury fibres, and yeah, in Bath in the United Kingdom. And they also have their own yarn called Opus. I think Opus is, no, Walcott yarns. And they have Origin and Opus. I think they are there too, yeah. So I felt like I had to buy a skein I wanted to buy a skein from there. I ended up buying 2. Robin got a beautiful sweater quantity of, or yarn for a jumper. I don't remember the brand. She got Chin Fibre the day before it, like 2 days before at Loop. Anyway, this yarn here is a beautiful colour called Hippie Heart. It's 50% Argentinian merino, 50% Highland wool, and it says 100% free spirited. And this is their DK weight, or worsted, I can't remember. But it's a chunky yarn, and I'm going to make a hat probably out of that one. And then I bought this, which was going to go in my friendly Christmas swap, but I ended up finding another yarn later, and it's pink, so I'm keeping it. This is BFL sock called Jodie's Cake. It is superwash BFL wool and nylon. It's dyed by Dells in Canada, but the gentlemen behind Dyed by Dells are looking at moving to the UK. Yeah, so these were from a yarn story. Oh, also from that yarn shop in Berlin, I bought, oh, it was woolen. I bought this bag here. So I got those 2 skeins and this one, and I thought this would be a really handy bag to take to like Woollen Folk and Rhinebeck, and then I think I ended up posting it home, so I didn't have it to use. But it's got a like a stranded colourwork sweater on the front, and I really liked it. Okay, the rest is just like crafty bits and bobs in that bag. Waiting for me when I got home was some lovely, lovely yarn from 2 of my favourite Australian dyers. So here I have, I'll do it in order of when I bought them. I have yarn from Mel from 3 Cats Yarn. This is called Sea Glass. This is Superb Sock Fingering, and this is 2-ply lace, and it's Suri silk. And I have learnt that I love Suri more than mohair. And I wanted to make a Sophie scarf out of these 2. Which I kind of feel I need to buy the pattern first and have a look at that. The other thing I was thinking is I've got leftover Circus Tonic handmade from my hat that I tested for Astrid last year, the entwined beanie. And once I checked the yardage, I'm like, oh, maybe I could use up those together before cracking into these. But this was bought with Sophie's scarf in mind. But who knows? I just loved it. I thought it was beautiful. And then I looked at these together and I just thought, oh, pastels. Love it. And then, but it also goes with that very nicely. And with either of those two, probably the purple. So great, versatile. Bought with something in mind, but didn't end up doing that. I also really love Mel's, her tags that she does. I think they are really cute. Very awesome. Okay, so then the next thing I bought was from Hannah at Rosehip Island, and she wrote me a lovely card that says, thanks for choosing some of my yarn. I hope this bright pink will spread happiness while knitting and also while wearing. Take care, Hannah. I bought these two merino linen. It's 90% superwash merino, 10% linen in the colorway pink exclamation point. I did buy it with a top, a summer top in mind, but since it has such a high wool content, I'm still not sure how I feel about it, but I feel like a garment of some description, so probably a linen top, and I feel like I should cast on a top because the weather is so beautiful and I'd like to knit something for myself. And Jacqueline Cisak has a couple of patterns. I think Jessie Maid also has a couple of patterns, so between those designers and the yarn, I have this and the grey in my stash that I bought myself for my birthday last year. I've got some things to knit. That's all the acquisitions I have. So what do we go on to now? We usually do knit and natter or reading, watching, listening. Reading, reading. I read several books on my trip, like listened on Audible because I had lots of credits. So I listened to the Busy Phillips memoir. Can't remember what that's called. That was really funny, narrated by herself. Really loved it. I listened to the Sophie Keisha one. I wouldn't rush out to buy it, like it was interesting, but I think I read like an average review of it before I listened to it, and then that kind of clouded the way that I read the rest of it. So that was kind of disappointing. Like it was a good book. I guess, yeah, good book, but it was just good. Not whatever. The other thing recently I read was Beyond the Wand by Tom Felton. I grew up watching Harry Potter. J.K. Rowling is not a great feminist at the moment. So anyway, I have a complicated relationship, but I read a lot of fan fiction. I ship Hermione, so Draco and Hermione. Anyway, I read Tom Felton's memoir book. It was excellent. Lots of funny anecdotes. Really nice to, like, I follow him on Instagram. He's like a laugh, and does a lot of fundraising and like Make-A-Wish things for kids, and has been in a few things. So anyway, that was really cool to watch, to listen to and read. And I read that basically on my trip, on my flight home. Listening, Taylor Swift's Midnights. Oh my God, it might be my favourite. I have some people who like it but don't love it. I think Red, Reputation and Lover are probably or Red, 1989 and Lover are my favourite Taylor Swift albums. And people are saying if you're a Lover 89 Reputation fan, you like Midnights. If you are one of the other, like Folklore, Evermore, Fearless, Debut person, it's not your favourite. I fucking love this album. I think my Spotify Wrapped. I had a few other artists which I'd done a lot of listening to, but my Spotify Wrapped this next year is going to be basically probably Lavender Haze, Maroon, Antihero, and I really like Mastermind. So they're my top 4, not in that particular order. I probably would go Maroon 1, Antihero, Lavender Haze tied 2, 3 Mastermind, if I had to rank them. But I don't. Anyway, loved it. If you're a Swiftie, you've listened to it. But it's very introspective, and we haven't had one of those from her for a while. It's funny, I loved Lover came out like 2 months after my ex and I broke up, and it was like her most like happy loved up album, and I was like in the worst heartbreak of my life. But it really resonated with me, probably because it opened with I Forgot That You Existed, and that was where I was like aiming to get to, and we got there eventually. And I really love Cruel Summer off that record too. Anyway, watching, I have not been watching anything mainstream. YouTube wise, I have caught up with watching Patricia from the Serial Sewist. My friend Adrienne is doing Vlogmas. She's the reluctant knitter. She has a really cute, I don't know if you can call enormous dogs like Great Danes cute. A lovely Great Dane called Elizabeth Bennett. And who else have I watched recently? I watched the Knitters League this morning actually because they were at Rhinebeck, and I spoke to Sophia and Julie, so I wanted to catch up and kind of see what they'd said. And then I've got a massive queue of people that I need to catch up on, which I plan to do, but good news, I've got myself a job. So the job is for next year, but I've basically had a phone call for relief work every day this week after Monday, and it's at the school that I'll be working at next year, so that's good. But like all of the time I thought that I would have to do things has disappeared, which is great because, you know, when you spend money on a holiday, you want to come back and kind of earn some money as well. So that's been good. But all this crafting time, I was like casting up my pressed flowers, and I haven't done any of it. Like I hadn't in a week just because I was exhausted after school, and then I'm still unpacking. I've unpacked completely now and prepping my house because I'm getting my kitten on Tuesday. So today is Sunday the 30th of October. Yeah, on Tuesday, my little cat Finn comes home to me. I pick him up. He is a 13-week-old Burmese. He's a lilac, which means he's a light grey. I should have him by the time this gets out because I won't have time to edit today. So sometime this week it will come out. He's a little spunky boy. He's really cute. And then he will have a sister, but she's born on another litter, and she's not coming to me until I think between Christmas and New Year. So yeah, we'll have a kitten in the house. My housemate, she likes cats. Her mum's coming to stay in 2 weeks, and her mum is allergic to short hair cats, and he's a short hair. So I've kept my spare room where her mum stays shut, and it is, you know, what it is. I think the only room he'll really have access to in the house that's not, I have quite a big house, is my bedroom. This craft room I will close up. I think he wouldn't get into too much mischief as a kitten, but when he's older, when he's very little, I don't think he could get into too much mischief, but when he gets older and a bit more mischievous-y kitteny, I think we could have some problems. So yeah, probably just need to kitten-proof this room before he comes in, but that's cool. The door will be shut. So that's really exciting. I got a job, so I've been applying for jobs while I was away, and then I had said, look, I'm available on Zoom interviews, but I'm back in October, and then I applied for a job back in late August, and I heard back from them saying, look, you had a really strong application, but we had lots of applicants, we're sorry, you're unsuccessful for an interview. And I was just like, it's August, I've got plenty of time, and I'm having a holiday, so it's cool. Wasn't stressed. And then I got a message from the school the week before I got home saying, could you do a Teams interview for this position in my teaching areas? And I said, look, I'm in New York, the time zone's really crap, and I've got sightseeing planned, but I'm home next week. I was like, I can, if you send me some times, I'll do my best, but if not, I'm home next week, and I'm happy to come in person. So I went for an interview on Monday. I was out of there, it was at 10. I probably started at 10:05. Was done by 10:35-ish, and then by 11:30 I had a phone call giving me the offer. So that's really exciting. It's not where I thought I'd be working next year, but it's a job. It's 12 months, and it's a growing school, so that should be part of the adventure, I guess. Trying to think what else. I think that's kind of everything. Still not sleeping great, thanks jet lag, and then also Queensland summer, it's 5 o'clock and daylight almost outside, which is great for getting up and doing things like going to the gym, but which I need to start, I'm starting as of tomorrow, but when you haven't slept, if I wake up at 3:34, I don't really feel like getting out of bed at 5 and going to the gym. I'm I'll try and get some more sleep, but I think at this point now I'm you're not sleeping more, so let's just do some let's just go be productive and go to the gym. I think that's it. Oh, one more thing. Yes, okay, next year I'm going to be hosting a half and half knit along, half and half wrap by Pel Soho. I've done up a thing for Instagram, but I haven't posted it yet. I was like not sure when I thought we would cast on, but
Okay, I realise this isn't the most fabulous view, but I'm cat trapped. So, internet, meet Finn. He's my 13-week-old Burmese kitten. He's the lilac colour. Okay, so interrupting the podcast, or at some point. I recorded a week ago. I didn't have the details. I do now have the details, and I still haven't edited. So we are knitting in 2023 the Pearl Soho free pattern half and half wrap. I have created a hashtag, and Pearl Soho have their own hashtag, so all of that information is on my Instagram post, which at some point I will pop like a snapshot of that tile in here. The pattern calls for but either 4 or 6 skeins of yarn, so it is big, of the linen quill in particular, but you can stash bust, you get linen quill, you could choose any yarn that you'd like. And I think for the bigger size, colour A you need about 960 meters, and colour B you need I think 1060 meters. All of that information is on the Instagram post as well. So plan is kick off New Year's Eve, December 31, 2022, and will run for 12 months until the same time, 2023. What else was I going to say about it? It is super casual at this point, no prizes. There's the hashtag. If we might get some prizes later in the year, but I kind of like the idea of just knit something in community with others, as opposed to I'm knitting for a deadline. I mean, obviously there is a deadline, or I'm knitting to win or maybe win something. That's how I feel right now. That might change. I also don't have the means to front up a prize at this current point in time, so we'll see what happens. With that, stay tuned. What else about it? Mel from Three Cats Yarn has a beautiful merino linen. She's going to open up her shop. She's currently away, but she'll be back the end of November. So if you're interested in buying yarn for it, you might be able to get something from her. I do have linen quill that I bought back in May 2022 this year, so that's what I'll be using for mine. And I also might cheat, or I might just cast on on Boxing Day, or like in that week between Christmas and New Year's. I wasn't really sure what my plan was, but I think if we just set the arbitrary date of December 31, if you start before, like in that week between Christmas and New Year's, I don't think that'll be a problem. And I guess like if you're already knitting one, of course you can join along, post with the hashtag, and then we'll just play the rest by ear. But I'm really excited. I've wanted to knit this pattern for a while. There's been many of other knit alongs, and it's such a big pattern, so I thought it would be best, or it might be fun, that if there are others of you who'd like to join in, that could be great. That's all for now. This is Finn, and we'll talk soon. Bye.
I'm using this linen quill. I haven't decided which colour I'm casting on first. I feel like maybe we'll do the raspberry first. I think it's called raspberry. So that gives everyone some time to get themselves some yarn. There are 2 sizes available, there's big and bigger. I will link to some tutorials when we're ready to cast on. Stacey Elstone from Stress Knits did a tutorial. She's knitting her 6th now. And she's a busy mum who has a yarn dyeing company and works and has a kid. So I feel like I just need to carve out like 20 minutes a day for some knitting. I want to knit other things. Like I probably should cast on, a top or something for summer, since I don't have any plans right now. I also should finish my Pierre shawl, which is like sitting here somewhere. But we'll run it for a year. Low key, I think there's like 2 people I've spoken to who are keen to do it. It's not something where it's very low key. I'll be in my first full year of teaching next year, so like I'm not expecting to have a lot of free-ish time. Like I've got a lot of stuff to do to progress my registration from like graduate to proficient. But yeah, low-key we'll end up with a really nice garter project. I seem to do one big one a year as of this year, and this will be mine. Okay, I've waffled on enough, and this is going to be sucky to edit. So, I'm Madeleine. You can find me online as Madbelle on Ravelry, Mad About You on Instagram. I have a website which I haven't updated in about 6 months, so please ignore that. I have my Etsy shop for my sock knitting machine, which is open, and I do have an order I have to do this week for that. Yeah. Thanks for joining me. It was so lovely to meet so many people, online friends in America last year. This year at Rhinebeck, and I'm hoping to get around Australia or like the East Coast more. Sorry, Astrid, and the West. But yeah, I'm going to be. I think at this, I haven't booked tickets, but my friend is getting married in Geelong on the 10th of December in Melbourne, which is a Saturday. So I'm really hoping to be around for the weekend, and I'd like to see if I am, when I've booked stuff, I'll make it more public. But I would love to meet up with any Melbourne makers or like Victorian makers somewhere-ish on the Sunday, I imagine, and then I'll probably hang around the Monday too. I've got family down there I really need to see as well, so I'll make probably a long weekend out of it. But if you're in Victoria and you'd like to catch up, keep an eye on my Instagram. Yeah. Okay, I'm actually going to go now. Thank you. Have a lovely week. I'll see you. Oh, it is the end of the month, so this can be October wrap up. See you soon. Bye.